Will Chris Jericho join the Don Callis family? This is one of the big talking points coming out of AEW Dynamite last night, along with the budding bromance that was MJF and Adam Cole. We're going to talk all about this on today's episode of Revolution Radio. What's up, people? It's your boy Mekz, WrestleManiac, if you will, reporting for Revolution Radio duty. I'm alongside my co-host.
Yo, people, it's your boy NK, aka the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. We are here, man. We are here.
What did you think of Dynamite last night, NK?
Meh. I thought it was a meh episode. I was like, I was very meh. There was a lot of I think it was like a storyline progression episode. There was a lot of vignettes. I saw a lot of vignettes. And Nafi would be happy about that. But yeah, I don't know if it was all right episode. I guess things progressed forward, but there wasn't anything must see about this Dynamite. You know what I'm saying? It was a skippable episode to me.
Yeah. I feel like it was just standard TV stuff. Yeah, it was like you say, there was nothing that you definitely needed to see. We definitely saw something in the beginning of this Jericho needing to reinvent himself almost again, and where that's going to lead to, and then obviously the great TV that was MJF and Adam Cole. Outside of that, I wouldn't say there was much else in terms of new stuff. I do have some questions for some of the stuff that they've done, and what transpired. Also, I wanted to ask you before we get into talk about Dynamite, Collision. How have you been finding Collision in general? What are we 3 weeks in now? I think the 4th episode is this Saturday since the inception of it. How have you been finding it?
I thought Collision's been good. I think Collision, I wouldn't say it's been some episodes haven't been must see, but I think it's been good. I think I've gotten a lot more usage out of guys like Andrade for sure. I think Collision right now needs a super hot storyline. Right now it's building stuff, and it's only 3 episodes in, so I kind of give it grace. But I think it needs a hot angle right now, just something at the top of the card that really puts like an Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club stuff that we got on Dynamite. Collision needs that. I think once it has that, it's going to be an excellent show. Right now, I think it's a good show. And it's definitely above Rampage. I don't think it's filler. I think it's it's in between okay, must see Dynamite and then a Rampage. It's in that middle spot where it's it's worthwhile. It's worth your time watching. You'll definitely get some mileage out of it, especially with guys like a Bullet Club Gold, the whole Andrade versus House of Black stuff. But it needs a hot angle, in my opinion. It needs just that one angle to really, make it must see TV.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's just a lot of kind of right now good stuff. There's nothing amazing or mind blowing or anything. I felt like the last episode last week helped by having MJF on it. But then he done his squash match, and then Ethan Page came out. I was thinking, Ethan Page and MJF doesn't excite me. Ethan Page did cut a very good promo. However, I feel like a show where, especially trying to get off the ground in Collision, could have done with someone a bit more high profile than Ethan Page in that position. But he did do a good job. People have been tracking the numbers. I saw a few tweets on the numbers of it, and there's been a steady decline, which obviously everyone's going to tune in for the first episode. I think the first episode had over 800,000 views. Declined since then, but for those that care about numbers, it's not looking good, which would have always been hard to maintain on a Saturday night. I think that was the initial problem that we all identified, that Saturday night wrestling live was always going to be a bit of an issue. But yeah, I think there is a bit more. They're definitely above Rampage, but there's definitely a bit more they can be doing. I think the problem, part of it, is this beef. Of this man can't go into this show and this man can't. Like, I beg, like, this is what's gonna hinder this show and handicap it.
Yeah.
That would be nice to get that out of the way. I might be dreaming saying that, but yeah, that's one of the things that could improve the show. But I think this week's show looks very good. Obviously, they got a lot of the semi-finals of the Owen tournament. Not that Owen tournament in itself has been great, but the matches, Athena, Willow, I think we're getting Punk, Joe, Starks, and Powerhouse Hobbs even. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there this coming week. So yeah, hopefully a good episode to pick it up again.
Yeah, for sure. With the Owen tournament, I'm not. I think they've done a better job than they did last year.
They have,
in terms of presenting it. Do you know what it is? I think the opposite problem has occurred. I think last year had better personnel, bad presentation. I think this year has better presentation, but the personnel isn't. Roderick, like, only thing I'm excited for is Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe. Like, I mean, no, I mean CM Punk and Samoa Joe, because Roderick Strong was last week.
that was last
CM
week.
Punk and Samoa Joe, and that seems to be a good match. But I don't know. I just feel.
But you know what? That's even a good match. I'm going to say it only because of heritage, because of Ring of Honor heritage. It's not necessarily a good match because people will necessarily want to see these two together. It's literally continuing a story that AEW have pinched from Ring of Honor, albeit Ring of Honor is now their entity. So if there wasn't that heritage, that background story, that Punk has never beaten Joe and Joe's an absolute killer, would we care as much of this match? It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. You assume that Punk finally gets his win here and goes to the final. On the other side, it's Ricky Starks and Hobbs, and as much as Hobbs probably needs this, Ricky Starks is I guess he's been handpicked by Punk previously, and this could be a good way to get them two together in some capacity. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, in terms of match quality anyway, or just big matches, big match feel, it feels like this week will be particularly good. Right, let's talk about last night's AEW Dynamite, emanating from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Show opened up. They're still in Canada. How much longer are they in Canada for?
I don't know. I don't know. I think they got one more date there. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. I think they said they're going to that place that Brock Lesnar's from. Where else is it called? Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to Saskatchewan next week or something, or maybe on the weekend for Collision. Cool. All right. First match, we're jumping straight in. It was this the Blind Eliminator Tag Tournament. We still haven't seen brackets for this, as promised 2 weeks ago, but this match was very, very fun with Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin teaming up against Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Funny enough, previous AEW Tag Team Champions. Keith Lee played from the jump that, I ain't messing with Swerve, ignored Swerve on the entranceway, made his way down to the ring. We saw the usual kind of opening spots of kind of comedic value with Orange Cassidy when he was in. We saw the absolute beal across the ring of what Keith Lee done to Darby Allin. And Grizzly Magnum's in the corner to Orange Cassidy as well. And Orange Cassidy put his hands in his pockets and was just getting chopped and fell to the ground. All that good stuff. The match picked up some really good exchanges between all the men involved here. We saw Swerve Strickland miss his 450, landed on Keith Lee, but was laughing. He didn't mind kind of hitting Keith Lee with the 450. Orange Cassidy hit a DDT on Strickland. There was another diving DDT, I think, onto Keith Lee on the floor. And then we saw Darby Allin get yet another victory over Swerve Strickland. Pinned him for the win for him and Orange Cassidy. Them man showed respect to Keith Lee after the match. I thought this was a very fun match to kind of kickstart. I think I said it last week that I feel like Keith Lee is coming back. Like, I feel like he's progressively looking more like himself, and he took steps last week. I think he's taking steps this week again. In fact, before I get to my question, what did you think of this match?
This match was a solid opener, man. You know, you can't go wrong with Orange Cassidy. Again, obviously, this is the All Atlantic International title match, but again, Orange Cassidy is just Mr. Reliable, and obviously, you know, big up Darby, Swerve, and Keith Lee. All of them are very good wrestlers, and yeah, Keith Lee is looking like himself because he looks like himself. He's ditched the grey hair. You know, he's ditched the cape. He looks like Keith Lee again. You know what I'm saying? I think he's slimmed down a little bit as well.
Yeah.
For what I can see. So yeah, like I thought that was a great opener. With this tag tournament again, I think they've just forgotten about brackets and they're just gonna do random matches, which kind of like I'm not invested in the tool. I'm invested in the tournament because of one angle, and we'll get to that later. But as an opening match, I thought it was a great opening match. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how far Darby and Orange Cassidy go. I don't see them winning it, but that'll be an interesting thing there. Who knows? Maybe they could set up Darby as another all international opponent for Orange Cassidy. But yeah, good opener.
So my first question is, was this just for the sake of a one-off match, or I can't see right now the value of making Swerve and Keith Lee team together with all their history and everything for a first round exit, which hasn't necessarily paid off on this show just yet. Is there anything there you could see, like, why, what's the point in this? Was it literally just to put enemies on the same team and done? Like,
yeah, I thought I just doing was like, okay, how can we justify a Dynamite match between people? We're not gonna announce brackets. So, okay, what's a good match that will look good on a card? Swerve and Keith Lee coming back together. That's it. That's the only justification. I like when I saw this match, I figured they were gonna lose, and I don't see this feud continuing.
Oh, really?
I
You thought they'll lose?
Yeah, I thought they'd lose. Yeah. I don't see the feud continuing. I feel like Keith Lee versus Swerve has passed the sell by date. If you're gonna resume the feud now, what's the point? I felt like they should have I don't think they should have even been in like against Darby and Orange Cassidy. I thought they should have been against someone else, but they're here. I don't know. I just felt like it was one of these things where it was just like, oh, like for one night only, these guys are gonna be teaming again, and then they're just gonna go their separate ways as per usual. And then I don't know what Swerve's gonna do. Don't know what Keith's gonna do, but yeah, I just think it's just a one-time only thing.
Okay, we'll see. Yeah, maybe it's past it, so they just need to leave it as that and nothing more. My other question: Orange Cassidy. After all the defenses we were getting of this title in the last 3 weeks, I think it is now, there's been no defense tag matches. Do you think they are beginning to now plot who will take the title from him?
Yeah,
like they don't want to just keep giving him matches now, but like maybe like, you know, rinse it, like how Jade Cargill was maybe rinsed, and it's now as a thing of, all right, let's put him in other spots as we kind of prepare who the next guy is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I think right now, I think what they're doing with mainly all their, except for the TNT, but with most of their men's champions right now is stalling. Obviously we see it with MJF. MJF doesn't with MJF it makes sense for his character because he doesn't wrestle that much anyway for the title. But I think with Orange Cassidy, yeah, that they've given him like an out to not defend his title because he's competing in this tag tournament.
Yeah.
But once they have a dramatic exit, I think then it's time for Orange to lose. Like, we're not at the stage yet where it's like the title run's gone dead. But yeah, I think it's safe to say the title run's in its latter stages. So
yeah,
right now, I mean, he defended his title at Forbidden Door, so I was like maybe 2 weeks ago. So I don't think that, yeah. So maybe he can have a couple weeks off, and then once he exits this tournament, they're just gonna throw him to the wolves. I think it's Miro, to be honest, because the Miro squash matches have to be leading somewhere. You can't be having those squash matches for no reason. It has to be something of like you're building momentum towards something. Or if they do a thing here where it's like, okay, they haven't done a can they coexist yet, but like Darby and Orange Cassidy, that pairing's interesting. Maybe it's a thing where it's like, okay, we've lost, but you know, I want a shot at your title. Who knows? Who knows?
Okay. So yeah, there's a couple possibilities there. All right, let's move on. Post this match, we had a vignette of Nick Wayne. This is the youngster that the AEW signed, gave a contract to at the age of 16. He couldn't wrestle until he was 18. Darby was pretty much narrating, telling the story of, he started training with Nick and his dad. The dad passed away, and kind of Darby took Nick Wayne under his wing. Said he'll promise to help him out, give him everything he needs and everything like that. And it's almost Darby introducing Nick Wayne to the AEW crowd. And they later on the show announced that Nick Wayne's making his debut next week, which is pretty interesting. I'm just interested really to see the capacity, like beyond the debut. How are they going to use him? Obviously, he's still at a very tender age. What do you think his involvement in the AEW roster may be?
I'm not too sure. I thought the vignette was a good thing. It was kind of introduced. It gave him like not only introduced him to the crowd, but also linked him to like a top star in AEW and kind of gave us some backstory of that who he is. I thought that was really good because I'm not somebody who's too familiar. I've seen Nick Wayne matches, but I'm not that familiar with him. I've only seen a match with him and Ospreay, maybe I think him and Swerve. Yeah. In terms of his role in AEW, obviously AEW is a very stacked roster. And like I'm sure for the first couple of weeks he'll be pushed. Like us, that he's a new signing. They'd want to make him relevant. But in terms of his overall standing in AEW, I have no idea. My first go to is okay if he's a young guy feuding with a veteran, but I mean, I don't know if this Christian Wardlow thing's going to continue. I hope not. But I wouldn't say push him straight to the TNT title, but have a feud with like an elder statesman in the company. But a lot of them are preoccupied. Like Jericho's got this Callis stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I just say pairing him with like a veteran in the company is always a good story. Young guy versus veteran. It's an easy way to get someone over. So, but I don't know what they're gonna do with Nick Wayne. I don't really have any expectations of Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne's not somebody that like I've followed like religiously or anything like that. So
yeah,
we'll just have to see what happens with him on the main roster. But I think this vignette is a good start. It's a good introduction.
Yeah, for sure. He's a big talent, that's for sure. And yeah, we'll see. Even still, rubbing shoulders. He's been rubbing shoulders with the likes of Darby, Swerve Strickland. But from the Indies to primetime TV at the age of 18 is a massive jump.
Yeah.
So all the best to him, and we'll see what his debut looks like. But definitely, nobody, fans or anyone, should be here heaping pressure on him or calling out botches or anything like that. Like just let he's a young boy still. So, give him the grace of finding his feet. We also saw backstage Jungle Boy arriving at the venue. He's really into his Hollywood gimmick. Still chatting about how he's going to catch Hook and then have a FTW championship match. Hook ran up on him, got some licks in before Jungle Boy jumped back in his car and made away. So yeah, they're continuing that story. We'll see where it gets to. I assume whenever they have the match, Jungle Boy takes the title from him. But yeah, any thoughts on this?
No, but short and sweet. And I think that was a response to last week. Though, like, listen, we need to rehab the promo. So do you know what? We're gonna put you on TV. Quick segment, backstage segment, no pressure.
Yeah,
get in and then get out. Simple as. So
I feel like the promo worked better with him doing something rather than just hear Mike talking to the camera. So it was cool. It was absolutely fine. And then we had another video package of Adam Cole and MJF. Basically, they've gone to the gym with each other. They're doing buddy stuff. MJF is trying to run jokes on someone that was overweight in the gym. Adam Cole telling him that's not what you should do, but you know who that reminds me of. They both synchronized say Tony Schiavone and burst out laughing. They said they'll spot each other. They never really spotted each other, but neither man needed it. And yeah, this is all leading up to them kind of doing some gym work before their tag team match later on in the night. What did you think of this pre-recorded?
This was comedy gold, man. This is, I mean, this is exactly why like we love MJF and Adam Cole. Like this is obviously great in-ring competitors, but like the side of their business they get is kind of the promos, the entertainment side. That both of these guys are just charismatic in it, and just pairing them together like it's hilarious. It's hilarious. This is the thing I said. I think last week is not necessarily about, because we've seen can they coexist storylines a million times in wrestling. This is not the first, and this will certainly not be the last. But it's just about like putting your own spin on things. That same thing with promos, and it's like these two guys, because of just how charismatic and good at this side of wrestling they are. Like it's working like a charm, and it's really this is. I'm not gonna say this is what Adam Cole needed, but this is kind of like I think Adam Cole needed a big program with someone, because I think obviously he came in with the whole Elite Saga stuff, but then Kenny got injured, then the whole Paragon thing fell by the wayside. Like that could be blamed on booking, injuries, like everything that could have went wrong about Paragon. Then he got injured. Then he came back and the Jericho feud was all right, but the match was lackluster. I just felt like he just needed a good feud, and this is it. This MJF stuff is it, and it's firmly put him where he belongs, on that upper echelon of the card. Like he's feuding with the champion. He's having a program with the champion, which will turn into a feud with the champion, and that's where he should be. Even if he doesn't win, that's fine. It's where he should be placed on the card. This is what Adam Cole should be doing.
Yeah, I agree. He's beginning to feel like a top star again, which is important because that's exactly what he is. I noticed this maybe back in the Bullet Club days of Adam Cole. He has a terrific straight face. Like once he gets into that, whatever they're acting out, whatever the case is, you can't crack him. Because them times, obviously, Bullet Club were pretty much jokers. They were like the jocks in a school. Like they were kind of the protagonists to everybody. But then when they would get caught slipping, or when someone would get the upper hand on them, it's always like the shock factor and everything. And this guy would not crack. You'd see people kind of turning away and trying to not to laugh at anything. Like Adam Cole is just so good. Like, and I'm watching him with MJF, and I'm thinking he must crack. He's got to. Like the rest of us are laughing, but he's just so good at keeping a straight face. And in this case, trying to tell the story of, I'm keeping him at arm's length. I'm not really trusting him too tough. We'll get back to obviously these guys' match that they had on the night. But yeah, this was a really, really good segment, and I guess got us ready for what was later on in the night. Back to the action, we had a trios match, Acclaimed and Billy Gunn versus Blade and the Bollywood Boys. I guess straightforward match where the Acclaimed got all of their kind of babyface spots in, the Scissor Me Timbers, all the scissoring stuff anyway. Ended it with a mic drop. And the match was done. They beat Blade and Bollywood Boys. No real purpose for this match at all, but hey, Acclaimed on TV. We had is it Harley from QTV? She came down to the ring, still trying to ultimately move to Bowens, but he's not interested. But she reckons she's gonna win him over. Any comments? What do you think of this segment?
No, waste of time. I think we've said it before, but I think the Acclaimed are overact, but we need some sort of direction with them. Yeah. And do you know what? I would say we've seen so much trios action without the trios champion, which normally I'm not
Let's
mad
talk
about.
about it. Let's talk
Normally
about
I'm not mad about it because I feel like it is good for a division to exist with outside of the champions.
yeah.
But if it was a thing where cool, and I've seen Malachi Black's comments where it's like, okay, I think House of Black are primarily going to be to Collision people. That he said like he wants them to live on Collision. Fine. If it was a thing where we're getting trios matches on Dynamite, and then we're getting title matches on Collision, that's fine. And again, this is why I missed the rankings, because you could have justified all of this with, hey, Acclaim the number 3 in the rankings. They want to rise up the rankings. But now it's just without that, you just have random matches with no justification. And it's just like, and then the trios champions, like they're feuding with, I'm sure they're building to a LFI versus House of Black feud with Andrade and Roosh, and then maybe someone else will join into the feud. But we haven't seen them as a trios team. We've seen them as singles competitors for the most part. So, and again, this is a far cry from when like the Elite had the titles, and then we were just getting trio. Well, to be fair, we were getting best of 7 matches every week, but it was still matches. Yeah.
Yeah, I think obviously we know everything is just a bit better when the Elite are at the center of it. Again, a problem with AEW that we've said, you know, eventually they're gonna have to learn how to move away from, because these men are getting older and, you know, can't always be relied on. You got to build up everyone else. But you know, these guys started their run. It was relatively promising from the jump. They then reinvented it again with the House of Black rules, the open challenge rules, and that thing. And eventually, I feel that fell flat, because that last rule of the challenging team makes the stipulation or whatever. No one ever seemed to take it seriously or really do something that gave them the upper hand. So, and yeah, since then, I don't know where that whole thing has gone. Don't know where the champions have gone. Like you rightly said, they've more or less appeared in a singles capacity. We've seen Brody King against Andrade. We've seen Buddy Matthews against Andrade. Julia Hart, if you like, she's had her singles match with Anna Jay. Right now, Malachi is holding Andrade's mask. Like, you guys are still trios champions. It's like, why are we not seeing anything at all of you having just a trio? Even if you're having the throwaway trios match with against Bollywood Boys and Blade. That's the champions on TV. But yeah, it's not. I don't know. It's not working. And right now, there isn't any kind of obvious right. Okay, they're cooked. They're done. Who's next? I can't say who the next trios champions is going to be, because there's not much really happening to develop maybe another team, unless it's the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. So exactly. So it's a shame that they're dropping the ball with this. Again, it's like, this is a company that kind of indirectly promised everyone that tag team wrestling was going to be front and center, and we still have great tag team matches and stuff like that. Like the show opened with a great tag team match, but now you've got champions. Even FTR, you know what, they're gonna have a match against Jay White and Juice, which will probably be a good match within the feud that's happening. But it's just like, this isn't far from WWE caliber tag team stuff. You see what I mean? And you expect better, whether it's tag team or trios. You expect better. We'll see. We'll see if we get any action over the weekend from the trios champions there. So this is where, again, the show kind of went into a few more vignettes and backstage segments. We first saw them kind of report Eddie Kingston's won the strong open weight title in was it Korakuen Hall, New Japan show. He was all over the place. I've seen some of the videos and stuff. I've watched half of that show. I haven't finished it, but yeah. Any thoughts on Eddie Kingston becoming openweight
Yeah,
champion, beating
I
Kenta?
still need to watch the show because I haven't had a chance to watch the show, but I will watch it. But yeah, do you know what? That it gives him. I'm glad he's won the title. It gives him some credibility going into G1 for the Japanese fans.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, he's going into the G1 as a champion, and Eddie Kingston's family won a title. Do you know what? A lot of these eight, I mean, it's Eddie Kingston and obviously Willow, but these men are winning championships in New Japan, so maybe that's the new that's the new thing now. Just like the roster stats right now is a bit tight for titles. Send them to Japan in it, but I'm happy for Eddie. You know,
Yeah.
I want to see. Obviously, he'll be gone for like a month, so I want to see when he comes back, type of reception he gets, and also like will the strong title be defended on AEW? You know, because I remember the days of like pandemic. John Moxley was defending that US title regularly,
Yeah, yeah.
regularly. Like that was during the pandemic where it was hard for people to fly out. Now you have the obviously New Japan are up and running again and have a lot more shows, so I don't expect like every week talent to come through, but at least like let's have at least what three defenses
Yeah.
of the open title on maybe one of the shows. It could be Dynamite, Rampage, or Collision. One of them. I don't mind either which one it is.
Mm.
But yeah, just once he comes up from the G1, unless they plan to have Kingston lose it right after, have him defend the open weight title, man. Make that cross promote, like really open up that cross promotion, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great spot for Eddie Kingston. And maybe he can do some really good work with this that could make him kind of enter him into contention within AEW for maybe the international title or TNT title or something along those lines. But yeah, good on him. We saw John Moxley cut a promo on Kingston talking about how long they've known each other, and how they've both gotten loads out of wrestling, more than they could have ever hoped for. And how he ended the promo on Eddie Kingston, you need to answer your phone. So it looks like maybe the what was it? The telling off, if you like, from Renee Paquette last week maybe got through to her husband, and she's like, squash this beef. And now
Yeah.
John looks like he's actively trying to squash it somewhat. Eddie Kingston's not answering him. He's too busy becoming openweight champion. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. It was kind of left on the cliffhanger, that one. Backstage, Renee Paquette again with RJ City doing the tombola draw for the blind eliminator. We got Matt Hardy there, and he puts his hand in. He pulls out a name, Jeff. He thinks it's his brother Jeff Hardy. No, it's Jeff Jarrett. So Jeff Jarrett and Matt Hardy. I can't remember who their matches against on Rampage. Do you remember?
No. No.
Yeah. No. So yeah, that's on Rampage this week, Friday, if anyone remembers. And then we had a promo from Wheeler Utah talk about how he's obviously beaten Kenny Omega before. He's on his ones tonight. He's gonna go out there, repeat the act. He's gonna take down Kenny Omega. So yeah, what did you think of that? The Wheeler
I've been a huge fan. Wheeler Ute has been my guy ever since he joined Blackpool Combat Club. Like it's just elevated him, man. Wheeler Ute, like, of course, like he's not on the level of Omega or somebody, man. But Wheeler Ute, he's a. Do you know what? I feel like get some gold on him at some point. Maybe like now's not the time. There's no rush because I feel like him in the Blackpool Combat Club, it works, and he works as like the young upstart of the group. But I think at some point get some gold on him. Like I said, TNT something. Well, with the way Christian and Luchasaurus are moving, that title might be that title might not be available for a while. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Ute. I feel like he was somebody when he first joined AEW I could not give a toss about. I was like, he's this guy with best friends. Like I'd heard good things about him on the Indies, but I didn't care. But once he joined those John Moxley matches, the day Wheeler Ute is the origin of Pour It. Yeah, I think I debuted Pour It. Yeah, he's the origin of Pour It. So I have to credit Wheeler Ute for that. But yeah, man, him in Blackpool Combat Club is amazing. And yeah, him just talking this stuff to Kenny Omega. He did pin Kenny Omega. So Which was a great vignette leading to the match, man.
Yeah, stylistically, like I enjoyed his pure championship run. Stylistically, I just think becoming pure champion or Ring of Honor TV champion or even Ring of Honor world champion, I just feel that fits better than any title AEW have to offer, which
Yeah.
is a bit of a weird one, but maybe just because of where his character is right now. But yeah, he's definitely, to be given a main event spot with Kenny Omega is massive for him. So yeah, kudos to him. We'll talk about that match a bit later on. Chris Jericho comes down to the ring. He's getting big cheers. Obviously, he's in Canada. He talks about, where he is in Canada, where they are in Alberta, Canada, his history of how he came through the ranks in here and other towns locally. Talks about that he needs to make some changes to his career. And then before he could really say much more, Don Callis ominous music strikes. The music was giving me jokes. Like, the music comes on and he's
You see the
walking down.
wallpaper. Like, you see the
The
kind of the
artwork.
back. Yeah, the artwork.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, he's smashing it. He walks down to the ring, and he basically says to Jericho, both men kind of showing their ego here, that, I know you wanted something different. I offered you something. You came to the Tokyo Dome. You made history, Kenny Omega. This company exists because you and Kenny Omega done what you did. I put you on, basically. And Jericho in return says to him, like, at the same time, you were just doing, other business and stuff like that. I know you wanted to return to wrestling. I gave you opportunity, this, that, and the other. You should be thanking me. So a little bit back and forth there. Don Callis goes back to the point of Jericho saying that, I heard you want an opportunity, you want a new start, you want a change. Come and join me in my family as part of Don Callis's family. And then we see Jericho kind of do the whole shtick of, what? You want me to join your family? Like, do you know who I am? I don't join factions. I make factions. Do you want me to join? Do you want me to join? I've got a one-word answer for you. And I said, he's going to join. He's going to say yes and just, poo-poo this whole thing on the whole crowd. Chris Jericho answered maybe. And he walked out the ring. What's your thoughts here in terms of this family and what he's trying to put together? Do you think that Chris Jericho will commit? Will maybe this go to Blood and Guts? And Chris Jericho is one of the men in the Blood and Guts match back in BCC, maybe. What's your thoughts on this?
I feel like in regards to the segment, I actually thought he'd say no. I can't like I got swerved. I bought into it. I was like, no, Chris Jericho don't. That even me, I was like, Chris Jericho don't join factions. Like,
I thought he was
this?
going to say yes.
I was like, what's this? That this is Jericho, and then he was like, maybe. I was like, this is strange, but I like it. It's like, I have no idea what this Callis family is. I have no idea who's going to be a member. Obviously, we can assume Takeshita's like a part of it. He's a member of some sorts. But I don't know. I don't think he'll get involved in Blood and Guts. I feel like, if anything, if anything, I would want somebody completely foreign because obviously we can heavily speculate who's coming for the elite. It might not be that person, but we can heavily speculate. I'd want someone of like that level of surprise or of a similar stature for the Blackpool Combat Club. But yeah, this is interesting. Of Don Callis's heat never fails. Like I could like just the booing, just excellent character. Him and Jericho together is interesting. That's a dynamic. I don't even know how that's gonna work. Like, are they gonna cut off Judas? Like, because if Jericho's a heel, you gotta If Jericho's a heel with Callis, like Jericho as a heel sometimes, like he's fine, but he's one of those heels where you can sing along to his songs. But if you're with Callis, you can't do none of that. Like Callis has to be absolutely detestable, but I have no idea. And what does this mean for Sammy Guevara and Jericho as well? Because obviously they've got a little situation going on. Don't know if they've put that storyline on pause for now. But it's interesting. I don't know, like it's one of these things where like unpredictability in wrestling. Like we like it. Like I'm just here for the ride at this point. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I trust Don Callis and Chris Jericho creatively to put something together. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah. One thing that just came into my mind when I was watching this segment and trying to process it. And I can't say I want this to happen, but at the same time, this is at this point AEW heritage. Are they trying to do some type of Jericho joins Callis and then we get Jericho versus Omega at All In?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not, because that's not what you want, which is not what I want
No.
either. But I'm just trying to process it, and I'm thinking it's AEW heritage. Like,
It is, but it's the match has so far past its sell by date.
Correct. Yeah.
That I feel, like I feel like the time I remember they were still trying to do like early on before the pandemic happened. I remember they were building to like Elite versus Inner Circle, Blood and Guts. That was the first ever match with Blood and Guts. But I just feel like this Callis stuff, like this Jericho Omega stuff, like I think it's like even storyline wise, them two have had nothing to do with each other. And even if you listen to that Jericho on commentary when he's had the few chances to commentate on Kenny Omega matches, it seems like the beef is squashed. Like there's nothing really to discuss here. So for them to revisit it, like as a match, no. But even storyline wise, I'm like, there's no real reason that we've passed this. Like I think the match, I don't know what Omega's match is at All In. Like, I have no idea. But if it's Jericho again, I think that's a colossal disappointment, in my opinion. So according to the rumors now, there's like 70,000 plus tickets, right? So you're gonna put Jericho Omega, 70K people in terms of, okay, I understand in terms of like getting the arse are already in seats.
Yeah,
They're already there. They're
true.
already here. You don't need to convince people. And I feel like, especially for All In, essentially AEW are performing to an entirely new audience, like of people who don't know who they are. In terms of course, there's bare of us hardcores, but a lot of the people that are gonna go be at Wembley, it's gonna be probably their first AEW show live, and some people their first ever AEW show.
Yeah,
you want to put on a show where, oh my god, who is this Kenny Omega guy? What type of match did he put on with so on and so forth? That's kind of the impact you want All In to have, and in my opinion, Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho isn't that. It isn't that for the AEW fans because we've seen it before, and it isn't that for the new audience where it's gonna be like, hey, Chris Jericho, he's cool. Kenny Omega, who's okay, this match was something. No, I just get flashbacks to AJ Styles and Chris Jericho WWE, and that was a younger Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not with that. I'm not with that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, I can just see the dynamic now of obviously Kenny was my guy going into this. Now you're my guy effectively, and we're going up against him because I don't like him. I hope I'm wrong in it. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. A few video packages here. CM Punk versus Samoa Joe to sell us on that match happening on Saturday. Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks as well. They told a story of how Samoa Joe took out Roderick Strong and he was taken away after the match on a gurney, neck brace in, and all sorts. Strong was still backstage with a neck brace. I think he was telling Renee that he still respects Samoa Joe, but obviously he's a madman and ting and beat him up proper. Adam Cole walks in. Adam Cole comes to check on Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong again is warning him of MJF, but Adam Cole pleads that he's in control of the situation, and he gets a text from MJF about using a double clothesline in their match tonight. So we go on to the match, MJF and Adam Cole versus The Butcher and Matt Menard from JAS. MJF makes a comical rendition of Adam Cole's entrance, basically mimicking Adam Cole down the ramp and everything he does, gets into the ring and almost starts mimicking Roderick Strong and his what he does within that entrance as well when he's tagging with Adam Cole from the Undisputed Era days and stuff. They have this match. There's a part where MJF tries to get him to cheat, to hold his arm and stuff, provide more leverage, and that referee sees them and all this kind of stuff. It's a straightforward match where we all knew he was gonna win. MJF wants this double clothesline. It never comes. Adam Cole hits Matt Menard with the boom and pins him. Match is done. We then move into a segment following this match where basically MJF is saying that, we should have hit the double clothesline, but cool, whatever. It is Adam Cole's birthday, and MJF has kind of put together some festivities for him, balloons, streamers, production crew walk down with a cake and all of this kind of thing. I was laughing when they put the hat on Adam Cole, and then I think Adam Cole was about to say something, and he put the whistle in his mouth and just shut him up. MJF obviously just went into overdrive. He loves these kind of really corny segments and stuff, and he started the singing, the happy birthday singing, and was stealing the show with the singing. They sent Cole to go and blow out his candles, and MJF is here telling the camera that I'm going to push his face in the cake. I'm going to push his face in the cake. And when Adam Cole feels the pressure on him that, he's being pushed, he reverses it and slams MJF into the cake. They both kind of laugh about it. But Adam Cole, the whole time he's resisting, doesn't want to do it, blah, blah, blah. Adam Cole tells him at the end, like, I appreciate all of this. You're a good friend or a good pal, or says something along those lines. Brilliant segment. The match was a bit whatever, but we knew what the match was just. It was just there really to move the story along. But from the segments, these guys had loads of fun, and now you can't help but think, Adam Cole his heart is softening towards MJF, and Roderick Strong might have something to do with, I don't know, bringing Adam Cole back to realization, or turning on Adam Cole maybe himself, saying, I'm your best friend and you're not replacing me. What did you think of this?
Yeah, I thought this is just very entertaining stuff. You can definitely see Adam Cole, like lowering his guard. And I don't know, there's obviously, we all know MJF is going to turn on Adam Cole. The question is just how. Is it a thing where they make it? Because they make it all the way to the finals? Because I remember during the pandemic at AEW, they did something similar with Chris Jericho and MJF, where they were like, they were kind of like people hated each other, then became friends, and then they challenged for the title, the tag team titles against the Young Bucks at Revolution, and then they lost, and that's kind of when things kind of went to to a disaster. So are they going to do it like that, or is it a thing where MJF just wants Adam Cole to loosen his guard, and then boom, at any opportunity costs him like midway through a match? I don't know how this is going to unfold. All I know is that however it happens, I trust both of these guys to pull something off. And then, yeah, man, I feel like obviously this is probably going to be the match at All In, the title match at All In, and the build for it so far, hey, I'm very satisfied. So let's keep it going, man. Let's keep it going. And I kind of want to see them stretch the friendliness between these guys for a bit longer. I don't know. I like seeing these guys as friends. Like, keep it this way for a while.
Yeah.
Keep it this way for a while.
Character-wise, they're kind of one in the same. But yeah, there's a lot of good potential here, and I guess Adam Cole in the segment he agreed to go training with him again or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
So we're definitely probably going to get another vignette of that. So you just said Adam Cole versus MJF at All In. So I guess a week later there's All Out. Do you assume that's probably CM Punk and MJF?
Punk, especially because of that title thing he's holding. I think. Yeah, I'm still like, I don't know how they're gonna do the double build to the show, because essentially you've got to build one on top of the other, because you can't have a weak build for All Out. I mean, I don't know, but
I get now you've got the benefit of building one on Collision and one on Dynamite.
Yeah.
But as long as they play the fact of MJF literally, almost losing it, that he's got two guys chasing him down for his title. He's got no heavy and like Wardlow to help him or protect him or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then if he overcomes Adam Cole and CM Punk in back-to-back weeks, as we expect, the snarkiness has to be on another level completely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it will be interesting once we get to that in the next 7 to 8 weeks or so. How that's gonna play out. Next up, we had Britt Baker backstage. She was cutting a promo on Ruby Soho about how she beat Ruby Soho in the Owen tournament last year to win the title, and that she's obviously gonna do it again. The only thing she's annoyed about is in the first round this time. And Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara, they were backstage with Renee Paquette and Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho, I guess, broke the news to them that, he was considering this offer. And Daniel Garcia was like, but, you should be with us in JAS. And Jericho's telling them, look, you man need to kind of fly on your own. I can't be there all the time. Renee breaks the news that Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara are going to be tagging in the Blind Eliminator tournament. Jericho says, yeah, see, this is a great opportunity to kind of go on without me, sort of thing. So just kind of still stretching out that dynamic in the JAS and how, these men might feel about Jericho's possible decision that he's still to make. We had the women's tournament match, Ruby Soho versus Britt Baker. Decent enough match. Obviously, the Outcasts played a very heavy role throughout, trying to help Ruby Soho, distracting the referee, all that kind of stuff. In the end, we saw Britt Baker's lockjaw. She had Ruby in it, and then Saraya pulled Ruby out onto the floor. Britt Baker, she beat up the Outcasts on the outside, but rolled into the ring. She got rolled up by Ruby Soho, and Tony Storm, I think it was, helped Ruby Soho for some leverage there. So yeah, Ruby Soho got the win over Britt Baker in this match. Any thoughts on this?
I thought it was an okay match. I'm happy. A lot of people, I saw Brian Alvarez tweet something about Britt Baker losing too much of recent memory. And I'm like, there could be credence to that, because I feel like Britt Baker of recent memory has lost, but I feel like in this match, specifically for the Owen, I feel like she had to lose because only she won it last year, and for the progression of the Outcasts, she needed to lose. And we said before, like, Ruby Soho is kind of like one of our like top picks for this for women to win this, so it makes sense. But yeah, I kind of do want Britt Baker back in that title scene, and she's in like the top women's feud. But no, I really want Britt Baker back in that picture, even if you have to like put her in the TBS picture against Chris Statlander. You can do that now, because I think Chris Statlander is a name that's credible enough. Like, it makes sense for her to go against Britt, whereas with Jade, it was like, I don't know, putting Jade against Britt might not have been the move. But since Chris Statlander's like an AEW original, she's been in the company all the time, you can run something like that back. But I definitely feel like Britt Baker kind of needs to be showcased again, because she was the ace of the division for a long time, and it's good that the division's kind of moved past that one person being on top. But at the same time, like, we need to be reminded of, like, Britt was the ace of the division for a reason. Like, she was super promising. Like, her in the pandemic carried that division on her back. So yeah, I think we need to get back to that. Like, let Britt be Britt. And also, where's Thunder Rosa? She was on the Collision promo packages. I ain't seen Thunder. I've seen all of these man that were advertised for Collision come. I ain't seen Thunder Rosa do nothing.
Yeah, not even in like they're throwing Sky Blue into just any digger matches on Collision. They're not even throwing Thunder Rosa into those positions. So yeah, very interesting how they are using her or not using her, even after knocking on Tony's door, seemingly asking for more opportunities. With Britt Baker, and after you said, I think she's on commentary. Yeah, she's on Spanish commentary.
Is she injured? She must be injured. That's the only justification. She must be injured, surely.
So why did she knock on my man's door then?
Just to say, maybe in the future I'll be. I don't know. I don't know.
No, it's more enough. It's more than Forbidden Door. She does commentary with Abrahantes and whoever else does commentary. Like she's a regular fixture on Spanish commentary, and she has been since she got injured. So yeah, it's just weird that she came out, she knocked on Tony Khan's door, same way Miro has, and we can see Miro every week on what do you call this thing? Says surprise. On we see Miro every week in Collisions since then, and Thunder Rosa, like you say in NK, still no sight of her. I think, like you're mentioning, Britt Baker, it will be good to see her in a good position. I think with Statlander, we don't like Statlander's been brilliant since he's been champion, but we don't want to get into the open challenge every week like we have been getting so far, and it's literally what we saw with Jade. Yes, the matches are longer, yes, the matches are better, but we've literally just seen this format. So going into either the likes of All In, All Out, Britt would be a fantastic name for Statlander to have a good story with and beat. Or even Tony Storm, where she's connected to this Outcast stuff now. Tony Storm could have a good match with Britt Baker as well, going into that big show. I mean, who else? Unless Jamie Hayter is obviously back, there isn't anyone else in terms of name value that Tony Storm can have a match with within the company. I'm not talking about Mercedes or anyone from outside the company. Within the company, it's kind of got to be Jamie Hayter, and if Jamie Hayter is not ready to go, you probably call on Britt Baker, right? So I think come the next few weeks, getting towards these pay-per-views, knowing the health of Jamie Hayter will probably help decide some of these things, but she should surely be shoed in for either the TBS title match at one of those shows or the world title match. Just on this title as well, Jade Cargill, I don't know if you saw this. She's just enjoying life right now. A fan asked her, do you plan to come back to AEW or come back to wrestling anytime soon? She said no. Full stop. No. Like, obviously she could just be working. But with a show like All In, again, we don't need any quote-unquote draws. They've sold 70,000 tickets already. Do you include someone that is almost quite high profile in AEW, such as Jade, on that card? Do you think that's like a spot where she maybe comes back and has a rematch with Statlander or something like that?
I don't know about rematch, but you put her on the card somehow. It's gonna sound corny, lazy. Even the women's battle royal or something. Just because I don't think her going back for the TBS title is a good thing, because I feel like that one loss she took against Statlander should kind of be like the one loss she takes. It's enough. But just 70,000 people. Jade Cargill, like the main selling point about her is her star power. Is just look at her. She looks like a star, and having her in an arena full of 70,000 people is like a must. But just finding a way to organically include her there is tough, because unless they do a women's battle royal, I don't know how you do it, or maybe you do a multi-man match for the TBS title. That way she's involved, but she doesn't get pinned. And she's do you know? I think just do like a fatal four-way for the TBS title, like have her showcase her stuff, and then that way it kind of protects her work-wise as well, because she doesn't have to, like carry the match as well. There'll be other people there. Maybe throw in, I don't know. I'm just throwing names off top of the hat. Willow, maybe Statlander, Willow, Sky Blue, Jade Cargill. Those are people that have been pushed on TV as of recently. So those are just names I just thought of.
That's a good idea. Another idea that just came to me is if you have like a battle royal, but like not one where the winner gets a title shot. Like if they done something like a women's Dynamite Diamond Ring,
and
a battle royal, and Jade could win that, and Jade with a diamond ring is pretty much within her character as well. And that could just be a quick, nothing match that feels like something. Jade, that's kind of like her new gimmick now that she won this match. She's got the ring or whatever the case is. But yeah, I think you 70,000 people, you get Jade on the card. Because she just, even outside of wrestling, just in terms of as an ambassador for AEW, she has done a hell of a lot over the last year and stuff. So yeah, it'll be a really good spot for her, and her doing promo in this country and all the shows, as great as she looks and all of that stuff. I just think it makes sense. So yeah, it would be a good spot for her. Cool. That leads us to, we're gonna get, I think it's on Dynamite next week, Ruby Soho versus Sky Blue. That's the semi-final of the Owen tournament for the women, and the other semi-finals on Collision this week, Athena versus Willow, which should be good. Main event time: Wheeler Yuta versus Kenny Omega. It was great to see Kenny Omega. Big ovation in Canada as he came down. His first singles match since the loss he took to Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door. I guess his first sighting since then as well. He hasn't been on TV. I don't think he was on TV before, but this is his first match since then. Wheeler Yuta jumped him, got a jump start on Omega, started beating him up as his entrance music was still going on as he just entered the ring. Omega's obviously got the Callisio tape and everything like that. He's still hurting. Really good match. Lots of good action between these two. There was a point where Yuta poked Omega in the eye, hit him with some German suplexes, and got a 2 at the end of the sequence. There was a V trigger from Omega, but his shoulder couldn't. It gave out. There's a point he would done the you can't escape and tried to do the kip up and just collapsed a bit. And I you know what, I've seen that him do that within him and one of Okada's matches. And I just thought this guy's excellent, man. Like the level of selling here, like just something just so easy that he's done it a million times. Like, but if you haven't seen him kind of falter that before, like you could easily fall for it. Like, so yeah, we had that. To kind of get to the finish, we saw Omega put away. I think he hit him with you put him in like the seatbelt pin of what he beat him with beforehand. And then we saw Don Callis comes in to try and make a distraction. Takeshita hits a enormous blue thunder bomb. That man was spinning for time on Omega. Yuta hit Omega with two, and then Omega, I think from the top rope, hits him with a one-winged angel. No one kicks out angel. Once you're hit with it, and Omega gets the win over Wheeler Yuta, there was no time for celebration. Claudio Castagnoli come down to the ring, come to rush Kenny Omega. We saw the Bucks come down with Hangman, and they came to make the save. And then we saw the Dark Order come in and get involved and took a chair from Hangman as well. I believe we're getting the Bucks and Hangman on Rampage against Dark Order as well. So yeah, a good match for the main event. A really good showing for Wheeler Yuta. Kenny Omega gets the win, but not much of standing tall because he's beat up. And yeah, Claudio came in, and we're obviously in the midst of BCC versus the Elite, and now Dark Order are setting their sights on maybe particularly Hangman as well. What did you think of this main event match and angle?
I thought the main match was good. Again, Kenny, this is kind of what I love about Kenny, just like the small details. Like, he took a Tiger Driver 91 and he's selling it 2 weeks later as like this devastating move. And Excalibur was putting it on commentary, like his equilibrium's off. And even the way Kenny was, even there was another spot where he tried to get, obviously the setup for the one win age was like Kenny, like, put people on his shoulders and lifts them up, but he couldn't do that in the match because he was still selling the injury to like his head and neck, and just like, and that's kind of what made the match between him and Yuta competitive. And it was just like, Kenny's work as an in-ring competitor speaks for itself. I just thought like the selling of this match was incredible. And obviously we got the standard. It feels like a standard BCC beatdown. I'm not going to say this as a critique, but a lot of the time we figure out like the story beats to the feud post Dynamite because like people be uploading clips they have of the show about Kenny cutting promos, about who's gonna recruit, and I'm conflicted because I feel like some of the stuff should be on TV, but then the nature of like those promos he's cutting at the end of Dynamite is very long winded, and they don't feel like promos. Just feel like, okay, I'm hanging out with the crowd, but
Talking to me,
I'm gonna drop some story beats here, but I'm hanging out with the crowd, and I don't think that would translate exactly well to TV. But I do feel maybe on next week's Dynamite they address the fact that because they on this week's Dynamite they did put the Blood and Guts poster and then they left 2 spaces blank.
Yeah.
So we do know that there is some sort of recruitment going on, but I don't know. I would have felt like it would have been nice for Kenny to be like, this isn't over, you know, wait till I get whoever I'm gonna get or whatever. But yeah, and I kind of want to see who Blackpool Combat Club recruit because I feel with the Elite, like there's only one person to recruit. Everything other than that is a disappointment. Like it's a disappointment. I'm so sorry.
Yep.
And I trust AEW to do it because they've done it before. Like when they were teasing CM Punk back at All Out, or like if it's not CM Punk, it's a disappointment and turn out to be CM Punk. So you know, and even just I was looking on my phone, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful put out a story saying Kenny Omega and not Kenny Omega. Kota Ibushi and AEW have been in conversation recently, so
of course.
I mean, yeah. But with Blackpool Combat Club, that's the one where I'm like, okay, I'm really speculating. Who the hell could it be? Somebody said on Twitter that it might be Desperado because John Moxley and Desperado just had that match in New Japan, you know, and the whole thing about BCC is that, you know, bleed to get in. So, you know, they've bled together. I wouldn't mind that, to be honest. That would be very interesting, but I don't know. John Moxley doesn't have a lot of friends, so
yeah. And the thing is, obviously Danielson's missing, and that would have been great. Eddie Kingston G1, Shota G1. Yeah, it's very hard to see at this point, but you know, you probably don't want one surprise to outshine the other. So yeah, they could probably get away with a Despy, which everyone would enjoy his work, and he's perfect for this kind of match, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Obviously, the star that is Kota Ibushi coming in for the Elite. Yeah, when is Blood and Guts? In 2 weeks' time?
I believe so. I think it's in 2 weeks. Yes, I think next week might be the go home to Blood and Guts.
Yeah,
let me check.
19th, I think it is.
Yes. Yeah, Wednesday 19th. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2
weeks.
So maybe that kind of promo you saw, the one that Kenny Omega done, we get some type of more succinct version of it on Dynamite next week. Just a bit of that open tease that AEW done with CM Punk, like you were mentioning, that, you know, I went to Japan and I've called a friend. Or just something along those lines, which basically tells everyone it's Kota Ibushi without telling everyone I'm calling Kota Ibushi.
Do you think we get Kota Ibushi next week or at Blood and Guts? Like, do you think his first appearance is at Blood and Guts, or do you think he comes in for the save next week?
I think at Blood and Guts would be better.
Okay. Yeah.
Despite it not being a pay-per-view or anything like that. I think at Blood and Guts as the last man to enter, or whatever the case is, or make his entrance. Yeah, that would be cool. But yeah, man, that's bubbling, and that was Dynamite, as we said at the kind of top of the show. There's some good stuff on Collision that's set to happen this next week. But yeah, we're building slowly. We've got Blood and Guts in 2 weeks. We've got All In, All Out in about 7, 8, 9 weeks. So TV may be a bit slower right now, as we're trying to kind of form stories and get to those big shows back to back. And how they're even going to book TV with those 2 shows one after another is going to be something to behold. But I don't put them past. They can do it. It will be difficult, but I'm sure they can do a job there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that has been our show. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out and subscribe to WRESTHINGS if you are new here as well. We'll be back same time next week with another episode of Revolution Radio, the go home show to Blood and Guts, like NK just said. So hopefully that'll be good, and we'll chat about, you know, how the Owen tournament has progressed, what the finals are going to be looking like, because we should probably know by then. So yeah, a lot of good stuff that's going to happen next week's show. Make sure you tune in, and we'll see you guys in the next one.